Hey, Facebookers. So I'm just jumping in today to do a live about how you can overcome some anxieties. I am trying really hard to make sure I do one of these a week just to give you as much support as possible. So for anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name is Katie Woodland. I am a developmental psychologist, a holistic therapist, and a doTERRA wellness advocate. So I specialise in all things mental health and all things fun when it comes to the therapeutic world. So more and more people are struggling with anxieties, and it was obviously Mental Health Awareness Week a few weeks ago, and there was so much awareness being raised. It was amazing. But what you often find when there's lots of things talking about mental health is there doesn't tend to be very much useful information for anybody who is struggling. Hi, Anne. Lovely to see you. Oh, and thank you, Anne, for liking some of my posts and stuff. So thank you, and great to be here. If you have any questions, just bib them up and I will answer as I go along. So what I want to do is I want to give you a couple of really, really great tips that are going to support you overcome anxieties or support somebody you know who is struggling with anxiety. So before we go into the tips, though, it's really important that you understand what an anxiety type behaviour is, because people tend to get anxiety confused with other things, and it's not your fault. It's just that it's not out there all the time. So anybody who's struggling with anxiety usually becomes the best tea maker in the world and the best procrastinator. Okay, so we all have it in us. But usually somebody who's struggling with anxiety, they don't always have heart palpitations. They don't always have panic attacks. You can really spot that somebody's finding something pretty scary and it's automatically triggering the behavioural response, which is an avoidance behaviour. So if there's something that you really, really need to do and you spend all day, get to the end of the day and you haven't done it, that's an indication that even if you didn't realise you had anxieties about something, your subconscious is taken over, and you end up having not done the thing that you wanted. On the extreme end, people will get serious fears about things. So, people who are struggling with fears of dogs, fears of flying, and all those sorts of things tend to be what people perceive as anxiety. But you don't always have such a physiological response that other people can notice. So, okay, so now we know kind of what an anxiety is. There's some great tips to work out ways to overcome it. So the first thing you need to do is work out what it is you are just avoiding, okay? So, and the next thing you need to do is you need to work out why, okay? So you may find you never book a holiday abroad because you actually find out you are terrified of going on a plane. So then what you'd need to do is obviously deal with your fear of flying. Or you may find that you're struggling right now financially, and so you're avoiding looking at your bank account, or you're avoiding doing anything surrounding money because it's something that's scaring you. And it doesn't have to be scary like a lion fighting you. It can be, something that other people don't perceive as scary at all. So you have to really sit down and be like, well, why do I keep avoiding this? Why do I make up every excuse under the sun to not do this? Why, when I attempt to do this, do I start to get sweaty? Do I start to have heart palpitations? What am I doing and why? And when you know why, you can then start to take steps to overcome it. Now, the thing that's really scary is the only way to really overcome anxiety is to do the thing that's scary, because then what you're doing is you're showing your brain it's not, okay? You can't procrastinate and then all of a sudden one day wake up and no longer be scared. You have to actually physically do it. Now, the really cool thing is that our brains are phenomenal in so many different ways, but there's a couple of ways that they're not so clever and you can kind of trick it. So while I'm saying you have to do the thing that scares you to overcome an anxiety, you can pretend you're doing it. So I'm not sure whether you've heard of visualization, but this is something that they use a lot with people struggling with PTSD and phobias. Is what you do is you imagine doing the thing that scares you in your mind. So you're running through it, visualize as much as you can, think about, say for example, we go back to somebody who's scared of flying. You would need to close your eyes, imagine you were going to get on the plane, and if that sparks the physiological response, step back. Okay, imagine that you're at the airport. If that sparks the physiological response, step back again. Imagine you packing your bag. If that sparks a physiological response, step back again to booking the holiday. So what you want to do is you want to start as far back as you can, where you're not getting the palpitations, and then you slowly walk through it. Now, as you're walking through this, what you want to do is do some deep breathing techniques, and do lots of things that are really going to close and calm you down, so that you can then take the next step, and you slowly walk through the whole journey. And you have to do it a few times, that you can go from A to B without really panicking, without needing to stop, without really being worried. And then the next step is you do the exact same thing in real terms. So if you have gone from imagining yourself getting on a plane and you're okay, the next step is to actually book the holiday, pack your bag, get to the airport and get on the plane. And it's not going to undo it straight away. You may have to do it a few times, especially if you've had this fear and this anxiety for a long time and it's really embedded. The next time you go to think about getting on a plane, because this is our example, your fears are going to start up again. So you just step back, do your visualization, and then you just power through. Now, it's really important that when you're trying this, you do it with somebody who you love, or somebody who's really close to you, because you may need them to help calm you down, depending on how scary it is. And depending on what it is you're trying to overcome, you may need to have a therapist on speed dial. Okay, so just be mindful that we are going to be tricking your brain, overcoming some anxieties, but just make sure that you've got somebody around you who's going to really help you do it. Now, obviously, I'm here and I like to showcase one of doTERRA's products, because I'm all about cheating. And if it takes you, a couple of minutes to do some deep breathing and calm down and relax without an oil, using something like wild orange will make that process so much quicker. So I genuinely am all for cheating. And so I'm going to talk about wild orange. So wild orange is one of my favorite oils, and if you haven't smelt it, it is phenomenal. It smells like you've just taken a bath in just a million different oranges, and you've just dived right in and you've got it all over you. It's so powerful, it's so strong, and it smells amazing. Now, I can say, hand on my heart, not only is there research, which is what obviously I love, research to prove oils are useful, but a couple of years ago, I had a bit of a horrific week dog walking, and 3 days in a row, I was attacked by different dogs with my dogs. And the one day I actually ended up getting my arm bitten and getting stuck in the middle. And so it was quite horrific. And I ended up getting a bit of PTSD. And I actually couldn't take the dogs out of their garden for about 3 or 4 weeks, because it was bringing on such a physiologic response that I was actually feeling like I was going to just throw up, even getting to the gate. So I gave myself those few weeks to just kind of chill out, calm down. And then I thought, you know what, why am I not just overcoming this? I'm a mental health professional. My dogs need to be walked. I need to get out there and do it. And that's when I discovered that wild orange is supposed to be very good. And so what I did, and still do to this day, just in case, because you never know when something's going to come back and hit you, is I put a drop of wild orange on my hoodie or on my coat jacket or on whatever it is I'm wearing, so that I can always smell it and I can inhale it. And the first time we went out, I heard a dog, and my physiological panic attacks all started kicking in. The sweat started coming. I thought I was going to be sick, and I was just like, clenched my fists, did this quite a lot, deep breathing into my collar, and 100%. I relaxed and calmed down far quicker than I could by myself. And the best thing was that when they walked past and I saw the dog, is that it didn't come back. So it wasn't as though I'd calm myself down and then I saw them and it flooded back again, because I had inhaled the essential oils and really focused on deep breathing with getting the oil into my system. The oil had taken over. So even though my brain was going, oh my God, this is scary, my body's going, yeah, it's all right, let's chill out, we're relaxed. Okay, so if you're struggling with anxiety, wild orange is hands down the best oil to go with. And what's really fantastic about wild orange is it's also one of the cheapest oils they do. So it's not going to cost you hundreds of pounds. In a bottle, you get 250 drops, and it works out at about 3p every time you use a drop. Okay, so if I went for a walk every single day, well, I do go for a walk every single day, but if I used a drop of orange every single day, that's 250 days of anxiety-free dog walking for less than 10 quid. That is just phenomenal, considering that I couldn't even leave the house. I couldn't leave the garden for 4 weeks because I was just overwhelmed by fear. Okay, so I hope my tips been a bit useful, and you understand a little bit about anxiety, and you know which oil that I 100% recommend. Now, there are lots of other oils which are really useful, and I'd love to know if you have used an oil for anxiety, what you used it for, how you used it, and the benefits. So Anne, have you ever used any of the oils for anxiety? I think there's a bit of a delay, so I'm just going to... oh yeah, wild orange. Okay, so it's good. I'm glad that somebody else is saying, yeah, hands down, wild orange. And it's just so cheap, isn't it? It's so versatile. Now, I mean, obviously I'm talking about anxiety, but if you've seen a lot of my posts, you know that I love all things. Hi, Sama. Okay, so what have you just said, sweet? I'm just going to do this one first. So this is what Anne said. It's her favourite. Awesome. And then Sama's jumped on. So wild orange is really brain boosting. I love it so much. Ah, okay. And you can't stop diffusing. Oh, okay. Brain, heart and soul uplifting. Yes, absolutely. So not only is it great for anxiety, it is energizing, it's uplifting. So a lot of the citrus oils are really, really uplifting and really energizing. Lost my sign. I don't know whether you can see that. Yours come back up. I don't know what's going on. The internet's gone crazy. Yeah, so the other great thing is because doTERRA essential oils are 100% oil in a bottle, and tested so many different ways for purity, is that you can obviously take them internally. I always put a little bit in water and you can drink it. It's really refreshing. But the way I like to use wild orange is melt some just normal milk chocolate in a microwave for a couple of minutes. Then take it out, put it in a bowl. Well, we've melted it in a bowl, put 6 drops of wild orange, stir it up, put it into a silicone mold, put it in the fridge for an hour, and you have orange flavoured chocolate that tastes far better than Terry's chocolate orange. And I challenge anyone to say any different. It is just phenomenal. And obviously that's a great way that I can trick myself. So I'm eating healthy chocolate, obviously. You can use it for cake frostings. They're just so versatile. Or the other way you can use wild orange, actually, is it's great for polishing wood. So a couple of drops of wild orange, a couple of drops of olive oil or beeswax, whatever you're using, and you can get a really good shine on your wood. So thank you so much for interacting, guys. I'm so glad you love wild orange. It is definitely my favourite. And for anybody out there who is struggling with anxiety, really try getting to the grips of what it is that's stopping you, start to recognize your symptoms, and then have a go at doing the visualization process and then testing it out in real life. And you'll find that you just have such a more phenomenal life, because you're no longer procrastinating, and your subconscious is no longer the driving force. So have a wonderful rest of your Friday, and I will catch up sometime next week.